Excellent. Great. Well, again, thanks very much for inviting me, Peter and Sarah. I hope you're happy with the pictures. But no, it's great to be here, and thank you again. And lovely to meet all of you. A lot of new faces and a lot of people that I know, and thank you for supporting those that are coming from the B4 community. So, try and get rid of this bar. Oh, there we go. Why build a network? We've all got different reasons. Please do, if you can maybe put it in the chat, or happy for you to shout out why you want to build your network. And you'll all be at different stages of your business and different sizes of network. So we run a business, we build a network to win business, to grow our business, to feel supported if we're on our own, which is a big thing for a lot of us that are working on our own businesses, to learn from others and be inspired by others, to collaborate is another great way of building your network, and just to be able to ask for help. A lot of our members in the B4 community have formed really strong, trusted relationships, and they're happy to pick up the phone if they've got a particular scenario they're struggling with. It's great to have that supportive network around them to be able to pick up the phone or drop an email to and ask for that help. So I don't know if anybody wants to shout out any other reasons that you want to build your network or have built your network.
To help other people.
Yeah.
To help other people, yeah?
Yeah, for me.
And to not feel like you're, especially for a micro or small business, to not feel like you're just doing this on your own, especially where a lot of us have had sort of more corporate careers and have left behind the team, sort of to feel like you're part of something a bit bigger.
Yeah, that must be a big
definitely
change of culture for you.
Definitely. Yeah, it's mainly for me, like to ask for help as well, like help and advice, because if you don't have any kind of friends or family that really have their own business, it can be really useful.
Yeah, brilliant. Anybody else?
I found that as well. So I kind of worked in a big immunotherapy biotech company, and then kind of moving to a smaller kind of consultancy type company has been quite a big culture shift for me, without having any of the kind of structure that you necessarily find in the more kind of corporate businesses. So I think for me, having to do a little bit of everything is great, but also I'm very much outside of my comfort zone. So having, hearing about marketing and sales and business is really valuable for me, for sure.
And that's support that you sort of take for granted, and when it's gone, it's quite a bit of a shock.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I also think if you've got the right network around you, if things happen and things goes on, then the bottom line is it's quite nice to hear from someone occasionally, "Are you all right? How is it going?" And it doesn't matter if things are going well or not. It's just nice to know that there's someone holding your back, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Brilliant. Excellent. Well, thank you for that. Thanks for your input. Right, next screen. Why have we not? There we go. So I think with regards to building a network, it's not necessarily rocket science. It's a lot of common sense, but I think having the right mindset is key. Most of you will know a lot about what I'm about to say this morning, but hopefully there are a few nuggets that might help. It can be relatively easy and enjoyable, but you need to adopt the right mindset if you're going to do it well. So manage your expectations and expect to make mistakes. Expect to be disappointed by some and surprised by others. It's great when somebody out of the blue does something for you, like Peter contacted me to present today. It's a lovely opportunity for me to meet new people, but similarly you'll have connections with some people who will talk a good game, but they'll let you down ultimately. But that happens, and expect that to happen. And it also doesn't happen just because you want it to. I mean, I've spoken to a lot of people that go to networking events and they get all excited about the business that they're going to win, but it doesn't happen. I'm sure a lot of you know that. You don't turn up at a networking event and expect and walk away with business. And if you do, you're incredibly fortunate. And I read Peter's post yesterday. Networking can be one man's meat and another man's poison. Probably should be person there, Pete, not man, but there you go. And he's 100% right. I went to a networking event recently and I didn't know anybody. I didn't feel welcomed, and I ended up leaving, which is a bit sad. But someone that should be good at networking, but it can happen, and you can go into a room and it can be quite intimidating. It can feel quite cliquey, and that's the sort of difference. When you're inside that networking group, you feel welcomed and supported. But if you're on the outside coming in, it can be quite difficult. So that's why, Pete mentioned why he's why he likes to build a network is to help other people. And that's a great example of how you can maybe bring somebody in at an event to make them feel welcomed and connected. And it's something that we're doing more of at B4 in our events. Expect to give a lot before getting anything back. You can't just expect just to make those connections and get business. A lot of you will know it just doesn't work like that. You've got to give a lot away before you get anything back and prove your worth. And we'll go on to talk about that in a bit more detail. And networking can be scary, as I've said. It can be hard work, but we all know how to network. We've been doing it since we were at school in the playground. You choose your friends, you choose the people you'd like to spend time with. So we've all got the skills in us. It's just a case of bringing those out in a business context. And it's a marathon, not a sprint. This man, you all know, ran a marathon this year after quite a few disappointments. He didn't let it get him down. He overcame adversity. He kept his spirits up. He kept his focus, and he didn't get put off by rejection. And he shared his ups and downs with a lot of us who interacted with Pete on social media. And I'm sure that helped you get through to that finish line, Pete. And ultimately you did it, which was I think we all crossed that finish line with you and felt so happy for you that you managed to do it after all that adversity. And building a network takes time and effort. Like Pete, you can do it. So do keep going and don't get put off with the downs. And I just wanted to put, this is a little bit left field, but if any of you haven't read this book, I highly recommend it. And it's just a way of me showing that, and I'm not sure if that's right about the 14, because the book's in the office, so I didn't check it, but it's about 14 contacts your average prospect needs. And your business network can help you with those contact points. And it's amazing how many people give up after 2 or 3, but it goes back to that point. It might not be the right time for your prospect, and you'll be able to use your network to help maybe convince a prospect through a testimonial or through a bit of word of advice about your abilities that you're worth doing business with. So do bear that in mind. Do grab that book if you can off Amazon. It's a good read for any of you that haven't engaged with it yet. So we've got 7 tips. I'm conscious of time, so I'll whip through. And if you've got any questions, please, happy for you just to shout over me while I'm speaking. So don't hold back. Tip 1: make it easy for people to trust you. People buy people. We know that, and most of us prefer to do business with people we know. But to get past the first stage, you need to come across as credible. And you can do that in a number of ways. A lot of you will have decent websites, so that's a go-to for a lot of people when they're checking somebody out. Make sure your website's great and professional. And obviously, there's a lot of people on the call today that can help you with that. If you've got a backstory, remember why you started and stand out as to why you're doing what you're doing, and engage with somebody that might be a hook for them to want to speak to you. Testimonials on your website. If you've got testimonials from local respected businesses, goes back to that, the 14 points of contact. If you can get someone to big up what you've done for them, then use that on social media and on your website. And obviously, fairly basic things, but make sure your LinkedIn profile is up to date and full of useful information. So tip 2, build credibility in your expertise by sharing it. If you're good at what you do, then tell people. You can't reveal all, obviously. You can't give the crown jewels away. But unless you've got a portfolio of blue chip companies, which I don't think any of us have, and some of us might, you'll need to start showing what you can do. So share your expertise on social media. It's a very powerful tool, as a lot of you will know. Put thought leader articles up there, share comment on industry experts in your sector to sort of join their conversation, offering industry insights on your opinion, maybe even put together a quarterly blog or a paper with your insight into latest trends in your sector, relevant facts, etc. That all helps to endorse you as an expert in your field. Run free webinars. Webinars, Pete, you've done amazingly, and Sarah today, to get this number of people along. It is hard work to get people to webinars. And obviously they were in vogue during lockdown, but it's harder and harder to get people to webinars. But they're a good way to get the right people along to share your expertise with. And speak at conferences. There's a picture here of Kate. Many of you will know Kate Stinchcombe-Gillis. who spoke at our bio conference in 2019. That was the last time we did a large conference for 800 odd people, but it was a great platform for the speakers to get their expertise across. And things like that, you need to build your network. You need to get yourself out your comfort zone sometimes and stretch yourself to grow. So for a lot of people, doing that sort of thing is scary, but it's, you know, you have to do it. You have to make the mistakes to get better at it and to engage prospects. And you'll do plenty of things you'll wonder why you did them. You'll look back and wonder why. You know, you did that webinar with just 3 people. Social media posts where only your parents and your kids and wife or husband interacted. Exhibitions where only 2 people spoke to you. But don't give up. It's all part of building your network. And don't forget, whoever you're speaking to, they've got a network as well. So it's not, you know, you might feel you've not necessarily got something in contact with that one person, but make contact with them, persist, have the conversation, and you never know who they know that can open the door to you and their network as well. Stay in people's minds. It's easy to make that contact with someone and to sort of let them forget about you. There's so much noise out there. It's so easy for people to forget about you. So use the tools at our disposal to stay in their minds so you're there when the time is right for them. Build your database, share your expertise in a monthly newsletter. I know a lot of you will do that, but it's just that regular drip feed of staying in people's minds. And one day you'll put a bit of information out there. It'll be the right time for them that they want to pick up the phone or drop you an email or respond to that call to action that you put in the newsletter. And it also helps build their confidence in you as an expert if you're regularly delivering useful bits of information about your sector. Share your successes. We've got a picture there of the latest Oxfordshire Business Awards. There's a lot of awards or accreditations that you can get. Make sure you're shouting about them, get them on your website, get them on social. It all helps to build the picture of you as a credible business. Share regular industry insights with them. We've talked about that already. Offer free consultations. I'm sure a lot of you do that already, but another way for people to get confidence and just get that foot in the door with people to give them some insight into your expertise. And also comment on other people's posts on social media. I'm not a big fan of sort of trailing somebody really necessarily for the sake of getting them, but sometimes it helps, and just the right comment here and there, but don't overdo it. And the picture of the gentleman bottom right with the tie, he's from Alan Dibb's book that I showed you with you earlier. Incredible. A guy called Joe Girard, he sold 13,000 cars at a Chevrolet dealership between 1963 and 1978, and was recognised by the Guinness Book of World Records as the seller of the most cars in a year, 1,425 in 1973. If you work that out, that's roughly 4 cars a day. And what he did, which is a little bit maybe creepy, you might find, but he actually sent all of his customers every month a postcard just saying, "I like you," and he just stayed in their minds. And you know, if a husband's picking up a card that his wife's received from a bloke that he doesn't know and it says, "I like you," he might get a bit worried, but obviously it worked. He sold a huge amount of cars. And so it's just the little things that some people, the tactics that some people employ that work, and obviously work for Joe. And he went on to be a world-renowned speaker, a motivational speaker. Pete talked about, you know, building a business network to help other people. If you want to get recommended, if you want to get referred, it's always important to recommend people that you can. I mean, it's my business to build a network and to introduce and recommend people. So that's sort of my second nature. But for a lot of you, you will know people that could work well with each other. Sending out a unsolicited email to 2 people saying, "I think you should have a chat with each other," does the world of good, and it helps build that confidence in you as a person that doesn't want to just keep taking, but wants to give as well. So I highly recommend introducing and recommending where you possibly can. And, you know, we talked about the little things that matter. It is the little things that matter. You know, we've met Melissa this morning, who's been a great addition to the B4 community, a young entrepreneur, fantastic chocolates. And we use Melissa's chocolates a lot just to say thank you to our clients for introductions, for customer for members that have converted to B4 membership. But I think that the point I want to make here is, don't just send somebody something when you've won business. Send them something when they've just introduced somebody to you, because it's they don't have to do it. And if you're going to recognise that thing, that introduction, which is effectively a free lead for you, and you get enough people like Graham, who introduced me to Melissa. Grant does it. Peter does it. Darren does it. A lot of our members do it, and they're free sales for you in your business. You don't have to employ a salesperson to do a lot of the work that these guys are doing, and they're doing it with a genuine experience of what you do, and they can talk with positivity and real endorsement of your business. So I really highly recommend those thank yous. I mean, how many of us get a handwritten thank you note these days? They stand out. So do the things that will make people sit up and take notice, and keep a note of people and about them, their family, their life, what they're doing. When you're having conversations with people, a lot of people go for the kill. We've all had the LinkedIn connection requests where you accept it, and all of a sudden you get an email, a message on LinkedIn, and it's trying to sell you something. Now, you've got to build that rapport with people, get to know the people, get to know them, not their kids, but just show an interest and do it naturally and do it warmly and start those conversations. The amount of conversations I have with our clients where it's 80% about them and what they're doing, and it's a small part about business. But I think it's vitally important that you get to know people and you enjoy spending time with the people that are in your network. And that's another key point is, do things with people that you enjoy spending time with, and put yourself first there as well. Don't join groups that you think are hard work, because it won't bring the best out of you. And it might not fit in with where you are in your life. I mean, I joined a group a long time ago when my kids were young, and it was only once a month, and it was a morning session. And I sort of grew to resent it because I wasn't getting that one day a month to take my kids into school, which I did every other day of the month. But it was just missing that one day. And we've talked in the breakout rooms about spending more time with our families, and it's important that you don't forget that, and why we're all doing this. And once you've built your network, you've got to cherish it and protect your network. Pete put a comment out about, somebody I think had said, you're crazy to, I wasn't sure whether you were referring to me, Pete, or just maybe letting somebody into your network to make contact. But your contacts are like gold dust. Don't abuse them once you've got them. So protection is a consideration, but there is a trade-off between helping others and protecting your network to get the balance right. My connections are my IP, and I've learned the hard way not to give them away too easily. And I've done that in the past and learned from my mistakes. And also be careful who you intro your connections to and who you recommend. Ideally, we go back to that point about our recommendations that I get. People that recommend you should have a first knowledge of working with you before recommending you. And the same goes for you. If you recommend somebody, and I did it recently, I recommended a family friend to somebody they're in the same sector. I've known him since he was since I was 5, that's 50 odd years. But apparently it's been nothing but a nightmare. And I didn't have any experience of him as a business person. And so just got to be careful who you introduce your contacts to, because you're probably always going to have that friend, but you're maybe not always going to have that business contact. So be careful. Your network is your business oxygen, and cherish and protect it. And without wanting to frighten you, networking is 24/7. It's something you can do all the time through emails, through social media, parties and dinner parties, children's sports fixtures. You don't want to cross the line too much into your personal space, but you'll meet people in the strangest places that don't rule them out because they're not in a familiar environment. Can't be a contact, a potential for your network, and someone that can open a door. So anywhere is a potential opportunity to build your network. Events like this, great opportunities for me to meet people that I've not met before. So there's always someone to connect with. So in summary, and I hope I've not strayed too much over time, but adopt the right mindset. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Make it easy for people to trust you. Build credibility in you by sharing your expertise. Stay in people's minds. Recommend and introduce others. It's the little things that matter. Cherish and protect your network, and building your network is 24/7, not just at networking events. So thank you again for your time, and to Peter and Sarah for helping me to build my network. Thank you.